Guys, happy Sunday. Happy House of the Dragon season 2, episode 2 day. I am kind of in shock at the fact that we're already onto the second season of season 2 of House of the Dragon. Like, isn't it just, I know this is such like an experience that you guys will share with me of you wait so long for a TV show and then all of a sudden next thing you know you're 2 weeks into the show being back, and it's super weird, but I'm super excited to get to talk to you guys about my thoughts about episode 2 of season 2. I need to know the name of the episode. For me, when we queue it up on HBO Max, like right at 9, I don't usually see the episode number or name, I should say. This episode I liked even more than the premiere, if that's even possible. Also, I feel like my mic is super high. Hold on. Sorry, I'm adjusting this. Major apologies if the sound was kind of blown there. Hold on. Why is this not? Okay. All right. So sorry to all of you if I absolutely just screamed into the microphone. I did not realize it was peaking so high. I had to adjust it. I'm trying to troubleshoot this mic a little bit for my videos, but for live streams, I needed to adjust it significantly down. So this episode was titled, literally it's not, I don't know what it was titled yet. What? Title. One was Sun for a Son. What was this one called? IMDb. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I really feel like I need to know this so that I can talk about the episode, and I feel... Okay, you know what? I can't find it anywhere. If anybody knows what it is titled, let me know. But this episode... It did such a good job, and the thing I was thinking about while I was watching this episode so much is how freaking great the... Why does this look a little dark to me? How freaking great the actors in this show are, okay? Like, I understand very much so that we have a great piece of history, like, we have a great piece of literature to base this off of. We have a pre-existing world from a pre-existing series, as well as a book series, as well as a television series. But the way that the show is able to write its characters and cast these actors who so deeply understand and know their characters that they are able to add levels of depth that I don't want to like take away from George R.R. Martin that it's not in the book, but that I just feel like gives it a very human condition, because I've read about half of Fire and Blood, and it very much reads like a genealogy, like a history, which is great, but there's a lack of personalization there that I think actors on screen are indeed able to bring there. So specifically here, I'm talking about Rhaenyra and Daemon. I so love Emma Darcy, and is that her last name? And I obviously love Matt Smith. We all know I love Matt Smith, but the two of them and the way they are able to convey this emotions of these two people who have such a unique, crazy tied together history and life and love, yet, and are on the same side of this war, yet could not possibly be reacting to the few things that have happened to start this war in such opposite ways. It's done so well, and how that's contrasted by the very innocent, not complicated relationship that Jace and Bela have. It just that their relationship seems so straightforward. They can speak honestly with each other, whereas it feels like Rhaenyra and Daemon have so many layers of grit and grime and history to dig through to try to continue to move forward. And I really just loved how this episode broke apart even further. I think episode 1 did a really great job with Team Green, but looking at kind of the warring factions within each side's situation, because it's like obviously there are the people who think Aegon should be king and the people that think Rhaenyra should be queen, but within those factions there are people fighting and dealing with their own personal problems. Like, I'm so sorry, but Allison, literally no one cares that you were getting busy. Literally stop trying to tell everyone. Like, go to your freaking church and go to your freaking priest or the sisters or whatever the religion at this point in time in Game of Thrones is. Go to them and confess. Girl, your dad doesn't want to hear about it. Your daughter doesn't want to hear about it. You need to chill. Respectfully, girlfriend, you need to chill. Like, what? Please explain to me why she was trying. Like, literally her grandson died and her 2 children are like distraught and like heading towards war, and there's all these political implications of the things that are happening to her family, and meanwhile my girl is like, Helena, about what you saw last night, girl, stop it. And as if I couldn't as if I could not hate Kristen Cole more, oh my god, when he was like gaslighting Eric so bad, I was like, I literally hate you. I can't believe I ever liked you. I can't believe I ever thought you were like a good guy, whatever. Also, can someone please confirm for me? And I get that you're going to be like, oh, well, the rooms look similar because the sets or whatever. But like, I'm pretty sure that Allison is living, her like quarters are Rhaenyra's old room. Am I crazy? Or is that the same? Because I'm pretty sure that's the room that Rhaenyra gave birth in. Unless they're just trying to say that like the castle is kind of mirrored and they're like, maybe they're using the same set. But girl, really? You stole your bestie's man, her sloppy seconds. You stole her crown and you stole her room? Be so for real, Allison. Be so for real. Guys, some of you are in the chat. I want to bring in your thoughts. Ando said that this episode was an awesome 9 out of 10 episode. I would have to agree with your ranking. Like, I think episode 1 was very strong. I would give it probably like, for me personally, like a 7.5-ish. And then this one, I would definitely give closer to like an 8.5 or a 9. I want to reserve that perfect 10 for what I feel like is going to be coming this season. I also want to give a quick second to give my predictions for this season thus far, based on what has happened thus far. I think that Otto Hightower is going to die by the end of this season, because Otto not being Hand anymore, he kind of serves no more purpose, and it's not like him and Allison's relationship. They can only have the same conversation so many times, you know? And like, he kind of established here that he's not able to really, like, he doesn't really care about the things she's going through. Like, he's kind of just there for the realm, which I guess is noble, but he really just does not care. And so I think he's a goner by the end of the season. I think we'll definitely see. I'm kind of worried about Miss Bela. I'm a little concerned, and I know that there's probably answers if I were to finish the book. I get that. I'm just saying that I think I'm a little worried about her getting her own little solo mission. I'm a little concerned. And I definitely would not have predicted that Eric and Arik would have died. Rest in peace to both of them. Honestly, that was really sad. And I don't know that I have that many other predictions thus far, but I do feel very firmly that something's going to happen to Otto by the end of this season. I just don't. I see him having kind of served his purpose for the story. And when he walked in and Aegon was like, Kristen Cole did something though, and Otto was like, are you freaking kidding me? How much more of a stupid idiot can you be? And the thing that's ironic to me about Otto is like, he is actually really smart, and I think he's a great addition to the story because of how much there's other characters that like why they want power and if they're actually cut out for power is really like dissected. Like, obviously Aegon has power, wants to defend his claim to the throne, but he's not like the best at being king. Like, Otto says he doesn't see the long game. He doesn't get the politics of it, but he is, in fact, really good with small folk, except for the rat catcher thing. Otto was kind of right about that. I'm not going to lie. But the Aegon having this, like, kind of being in over his head, Rhaenyra being really probably well suited for the throne, but not necessarily even wanting the power, more so just wanting it because it's like, y'all are lying though, he named me. And then somebody like Otto, who actually is really, really smart, but does really want to maintain power, but also probably, I don't know that he wants to be obviously the direct line to the throne, but he wants something there. Anyway, let's get to some of y'all's comments. Y'all are coming in. You're flooding into the chat, and I appreciate it. I'm also really sorry that these streams are so late. I'm hoping that next week they can be at an earlier time. But with this episode being 70-something minutes, and I like to watch the post-credits, like, analysis and the sneak peek for next week, there was just literally, like, I couldn't have started this episode any earlier. I started it at, like, maybe 9:05. So it was as soon as I could, guys. So I apologize for this being a later stream and changing the time up too. I didn't know when it was going to finish, and I was ready earlier than I thought I would be. The episode is called I Love You, Brother. Oh, that's brutal. A son for a son and I love you, brother. Wow. Jackie, you're so right. The theme of this episode, these dumb mother effers, really, seriously, everybody just kind of was on the struggle bus. Like, I think the storyline I find really interesting is, like, Allison and Cole, because I kind of hate both of their guts, but I'm also kind of like, I mean, they're both doing, like, whatever they want to do. Hold on, I need to lower this a little bit more. Sorry, guys. They're doing kind of whatever they want to do, and they're still able to maintain power. But it's kind of funny because what the woman at the brothel said to Aemond about, like, when princes fight, other people, like, bear the consequences and other people are the one that suffer from the fighting, it kind of applied the same way with, like, Allison and Cole. Like, these two people who aren't ordinarily really that important, but because of who they've married, been involved with, their responsibilities and roles in the kingdom, they having this, like, love affair that would otherwise just be this kind of, like, dumb little thing has these consequences of, like, technically Allison is kind of responsible for the death of her grandchild, and Cole is, we've known this, but he's the absolute worst at what he does. He really does suck at being the guard. He doesn't take his oath seriously. Anyway, yeah, it's I enjoy that storyline, I think, solely because there is so much hypocrisy there, and it's actually really fun to get to see characters be so hypocritical. And I think it's interesting too because Aegon and Rhaenyra have kind of been set up to be people that are kind of, they're almost both on the counterattack of things that are happening on their side. And it's really interesting to get to see that play out, but then you do need somebody who is, like, directly responsible for their own actions and keeps messing up anyway. And that seems to be Allison and Cole. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's kind of done this episode. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I kind of love Aegon, and let me explain why. Okay, listen, I am not switching to Team Green. I'm 100% Team Black. The red here is supposed to represent my love for Rhaenyra. Okay, also, you know, dragon, flame, like, thing. But I really find Aegon to be hilarious. Like, when he was all smug when Otto came in the room and he was like, yeah, I took care of things. I killed all the rat catchers. Like, he's not wrong, but the funny thing is he's not acting like a king. And it's funny when he kept saying all these things of, like, I don't want to be seen as weak. And I get that Otto is going to be like, you already are seen as weak. But doing something like killing all the rat catchers is such a dumb play, because they probably could have figured out either who it was or, like, narrowed them down, or I don't know, just let him go. But it's so funny to me because he just feels like kind of this just, like, regular guy who has been born into royalty, and therefore his, like, temper tantrums kind of have an effect on everybody. But there were a couple of times he was just actually so funny in this episode, and I feel like that's a huge testament to the actor and the range of the actor, that he has such comedic timing with the things that he says, but at the same time can portray this, like, truly distraught and a little bit off his rocker character. And we have to talk about him destroying Viserys's model of Valar. Is it Valeria? Valarin. There's too many words, guys, that are too similar. Viserys model of Valeria. Yeah. That was amazing because I remember how much time we saw that model in season 1. Him and Alicent talking at it, him and Rhaenyra having conversations, and it feels like such this thing of, like, his dedication to the realm, his love of history, his understanding of being a genuinely good king, and how that, like, Aegon just destroys it in this fit of rage and anger. And it's so, like, I know they talk about it in the post episode breakdown, and I do feel bad because sometimes I feel like I come on these streams and I kind of just reiterate the things they say, but obviously they're the creatives, they know what they're doing. And they made such a good point about, it's such a clear representation that, like, that age is gone. Like, there's literally, it doesn't matter what Viserys actually said or who he named or whatever he did now, because all of that's kind of been thrown out. There's so much death being wrought upon the realm and the individuals in the Targaryen family, and it's just like this beautiful, delicate, hardworking thing that he worked and cared about so much, i.e. his family. He cared so much for Alicent and Rhaenyra and all his grandchildren, that and Daemon too, and the fact that these events have led to, like, the destruction of that and therefore his family. Like, it is such good storytelling. Such good storytelling. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. I need to get to y'all's comments. It is the same room. Thank you, Philip. I also thought it was the same room. I was like, which is also such a nice touch because it keeps that relationship between them, and how it's like they're so estranged, yet there is still that connection between the two of them. And I really, really love that. And I loved Aegon reminding his mom, like, yo, she's only not dead because you asked me not to kill her. Otherwise it'd be a different situation. Because then it adds that extra layer of guilt to Alicent, kind of. Nick said his wife fell asleep, so I'm waiting to watch until both have some free time. Just stopping by to say hi. See you tomorrow, Nick. Thank you so much for stopping by the live stream. I so appreciate it. Network 98, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. Seeing Sea Smoke was awesome. Is Sea Smoke the white dragon? Because I was wondering who that was. And I think it was that white dragon. Yes, it was. Okay. Okay. So that is Laenor's dragon, if I'm doing the research correctly. And that's so cool because do you think he's going to come back? Do you think Laenor would come back? I kind of feel like he won't, but that would be so amazing to see him come back. I would love, which I was reading, or I saw a reel recently that was talking about the fact that the hair color of Rhaenyra's children is actually something that is recessive, I think, on the father's side. Like, the darker hair is recessive, and so obviously usually Targaryens continue to have, like, children with that white platinum blonde hair, but in the case of Rhaenyra's children, there actually is this, like, plausibility in the book about having the hair color be different, and that not being, like, a sure sign that they're not the children of Laenor, or they're not the children of Harwin Strong, and they could actually be the children of Laenor. And I thought that was really interesting. So shout out to whoever made that video. I wish I had it so I could share it with you guys, but I obviously do not. I'm surprised Otto had the guts to tell Aegon all this stuff at the end of the episode. Oh my gosh. When Otto says, you think that he made you king, which I can't tell if it's oh, you idiot, like, we've been backing this false claim this whole time. You never realized this was all a freaking sham that we all did because we wanted to maintain power. Or if he's saying, I made you king. Like, this has nothing to do with your father, because there is that element of Otto Hightower of he has this pride and this level of ego and this need to maintain power and be a kingmaker that, of course, he wouldn't give Viserys. Of course, he would not give Viserys the last laugh, the last, like, power. Like, I've outlived him. I've outpowered him. I've been hand to however many kings, and, like, I actually know best. I loved that he said all of that, because it's so much to like think through, because I definitely think it's more of the like, I made you a king. Like, you're not king because of some birthright. You're king because I made you king. But I do think it's interesting to think of the idea that like, well, actually, going back, Otto is the one that has Rhaenyra marry Alice, or sorry, has Viserys marry Alicent and produce a male heir. So it really is kind of his doing entirely. It really has nothing to do with Viserys. So I really love that. I really, really love that. I am 100% Team Black. I kind of understand. I kind of like Aegon too. There's just something about him. And like last season when he was talking about, what am I trying to say? When he was talking about, the way Aegon acted last season, a couple of, per se, the window scene, right? Aegon just came across as this like useless child, which he's supposed to. That's definitely his style of king, is like the kind of boy king. Like, he just has this anger. He doesn't understand the politics. He doesn't understand what it kind of means to be king, because he's always just sort of been raised to be like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can do whatever I want. And I hated him. I just found him like annoying, and not annoying, but just like, I felt like you were supposed to hate him for the sake of the story. And now I feel like he's somebody who has such an interesting and complex character. Like, the fact that he is just so boyish and silly, and like last episode when his son is being murdered, he's literally goofing off with his friends and like having a good time, like chilling in the throne room, and not taking that seriously. But then he also has this huge feeling of like losing a child that I think extends beyond just, oh, it's my heir. Like, and I think what's funny is in the post-credit scene, they talk a lot about how Helena and Aegon are the only two people that really understand each other here. But Rhaenyra has also lost a child by like a mistake of a part of this war. And, that's just so deep. And I love how his character has kind of stemmed from what all these people want him to be, and who he actually is kind of just like bro. And I don't know, I find him really funny. And obviously, like, I don't want him to be king, because I don't see it as like the proper successor. He's not named as the heir. Like, I genuinely believe that Rhaenyra is, but they've done a really interesting job with making him pretty compelling. I also wanted to ask y'all's opinion about your thoughts on the marketing for this season, because they talked a lot about Team Red, Team Green, Team Black, Team Green, Team Black, Team Green, to represent the two different households, the two different families who are both like have this claim to the throne. And at first I was like, who is even Team Green? Like, who is Team Green? Like, what are they trying to say? And I feel like in the first two episodes here, you actually can make the case that was an accurate marketing campaign, because there are certain actions that have been taken by both sides that you could now say, like, I feel like at the end of last season, there was no way you could be like, oh, Team Green, like, other than saying it was an accident, that Aemon's dragon kind of chomped Luke and his dragon, rip. But I just feel like there was at that point no reason to really support Team Green that much, unless you just were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But now I feel like it makes a lot more sense why there would be either side, because both sides have now taken actions that can be viewed as very reprehensible. And I mean, it is like a striking image in this episode, especially when you do get to see Rhaenyra and Daemon kind of have their argument, and then you see Jaehaerys's funeral procession, which, tell me that wasn't also like a little bit of a reference to Prince Harry and Prince William following behind Diana's casket and funeral procession. Like, oh my gosh, Christian, you are not Team Green. You literally are not. You just like Aemond, which Can we talk about Aemond? I have another theory. This is my follow-up theory. All my theories just happen to be about Team Green, unfortunately. I think that Aemond, when he had that scene at the brothel, why do I kind of feel like he has a little bit of a Oedipus complex with, like, he basically just wanted that woman to be his mother, give him advice, tell him everything was going to be okay, and, like, comfort him. And I don't know if that's supposed to be, like, didn't he kind of have a thing for Helena last season? Like, he was so upset when, like, Helena and Aegon were, like, supposed to get married. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of just, like, I don't know. That woman even had kind of Alicent's sort of hair color. Am I reaching there? Or do you guys see it too? Do you, like, you know what I'm saying? Is that a thing? Do you think he has? Anyway, moving on from that. But, what was I talking about? There's been a ton of marketing for Team Green. There's been stuff for both, and I am super sad that I'm not, like, the stuff they did in New York City was so cool to me. I feel like the idea of taking certain monuments and making them, like, declared for either one of the sides is so cool. And I think even the way that they thought it through of, like, and maybe I'm reaching, but I feel like with HBO and the level of marketing that the series and the money it probably had behind it, it's so cool to me that they were like, okay, yeah, so, like, the Empire State Building is definitely kind of like the Red Keep, so that's declared for Team Green. And then we have, like, Grand Central Station, I think, was declared for Team Green as, like, a means of transportation, like the land, like the Seven Kingdoms literally being, like, in control of the trade routes on land. And I think the Brooklyn Bridge was also declared for Team Green. The only thing I know that was declared for Team Black was Rockefeller Center, which does also kind of fit because it's, like, another iconic place, like Dragonstone is, that has, like, a lot of media power or whatever, but it's, like, more known. I don't know. To me, that just makes sense. Am I sounding crazy? But I feel like I liked the way that they kind of divvied that up and kind of divided things. But I would have loved it to almost be, like, a longer activation. Excuse me, like, maybe somewhere else too of, like, I don't know. I feel like if they would have able to I would have seen it more too if they had, like, a harbor, some type of, which maybe they did. I don't know. Let me see. New York City, Team Green, Team Black. This just felt like a super fun thing. And also the fact that, like, wasn't the Met Team Black as well? Yeah, I just think that's I think that's such a cool, I don't know which bridge is which. Sorry, I don't actually know, but they took another, Team Black was on another one. Anyway, I thought that was a super cool activation, and I think they've done cool. The one thing I will say is, you cannot tell me that Brittany Broski is Team Green. They had her on the red carpet at the premiere interviewing Team Green and being like, Team Green side. I know Miss Brittany Broski is not Team Green. I just know. You can't tell me otherwise. That's my chronically onlineness. But you can't tell me that the woman who created what is her thing called? No, why am I blanking on this? Royal Court? Broski Royal. Yeah, her Royal Court. You cannot tell me that the woman that made that up is not Team Black. Anyways. Okay, moving on. Okay, Ando has a take about the battle. Eric lost. I think Eric ended himself because he regretted not leaving with his brother to support Rhaenyra. Oh, I like this take. I took it as, I was trying to track the knee injury, but I think they both ended up having knee injuries, or they like flipped at one point that I didn't notice. I would love to go back and see if I could trace it, because I feel like they probably shot it in a way that you could trace the two of them. But I took it as Eric is the one that died. A for Alicent Eric. He's the one that died. And then Eric with an E is the one that falls on his sword at the end and apologizes to Rhaenyra, because he has the reason to say, like, I'm sorry, like, I can't serve you anymore. Like, my brother's not in this world anymore, so therefore I'm not going to be either. I like your take, though. That is a really good take, Ando, of, like, oh, he regrets not following his brother, and so he's saying sorry to her because, like, not only did he kill his brother, but he tried to kill his queen, who he knows is the rightful heir. And, like, I feel like that is kind of a good take, because Eric with an A, you can tell he sees right through Kristen Cole and thinks that's a bunch of baloney, and that he's actually distraught. Like, I took the remembrance of oh, this is a reminder of a memory of yesterday, when his cloak kind of has some dirt on it, or some, like, mud from a puddle. I took that as he's trying to remind himself of the failings of the Kingsguard. And meanwhile, Kristen Cole is just looking for any excuse to blame it on somebody else, for any excuse to be like, wah, 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 like, I'm so superior, I'm so good at what I do, even though literally wasn't doing anything. And I don't know, there's something I loved about that, like, mentality of, like, I'm gonna have my cape dirty because I actually know what it means to serve, and this has been a disappointment. I've broken my oath because I haven't protected the crown. But then Kristen Cole seeing it as, like, oh, follow this, like, super arbitrary, stupid rule compared to all the other oaths and parts of it that he's broken. Oh, gag me with a spoon. I literally hate Kristen Cole so much. He is probably up there with, like, my least favorite characters of all time. Like, I honestly, and this is, like, so out of context and out of pocket against Ted Mosby, and I'm so sorry to do this, but, like, I definitely, like, get the type of anger I get when, like, I see Ted Mosby doing something annoying and stupid, as I do when I see anytime Kristen Cole does anything. Like, I literally hate him, but I think he's also a really interesting character. I just hate him. Okay, moving on. Anyway, Allison is a mess. She is a mess. Like, girl, get yourself together. Stop trying to tell people that you're having this affair. Stop trying to confess your sins to people who literally are not going to absolve you of any of this. And the fact that, what is it that Kristen Cole says? Like, there's no way to absolve what I've done. And he kind of is just, like, ready to sit in that sin, basically. And she's struggling. Again, that's such, like, an interesting concept of, like, he is accepted the fact that he has broken his oath and sinned so many times that there is no way to absolve himself of those crimes, to repent, to, like, atone. There's literally no coming back from it. So might as well just lean into it. Meanwhile, Allison genuinely struggling because this is something that she feels it has direct correlation with her. And you can tell in this episode, and I'm interested to see how this plays out, that she's starting to feel like, was any of this worth it? Was, like, getting my son on the throne worth it? Because her father's now been disbanded. Like, she doesn't have her friend, which she hasn't had for years at this point. Her children are grieving. Her grandchild is dead. Like, that level of, was this even worth doing? Was this, which is funny because she's the freaking one that is like, oh, he said he had a dream, Aegon on the throne, blah, 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 blah. But, like, that's where I'm like, girl, get yourself together. I don't know. And it's so funny to me that, like, we see her going to church and doing these, like, silly, useless candle lightings. And meanwhile, this episode, she's like, I have sinned. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't want to hear about that. I don't care. It's actually so funny to me that she's trying so hard to just chill. Okay. How come I didn't know about Darren Targaryen until literally this episode? I was like, who dat? And then I was like, oh, great. Yeah, another person with basically the same name. Hold on. Darren. Let's see. It's the third and youngest son of King Viserys. And Alicent Hightower, his younger brother to King Aegon II. Oh, okay. Well, I'm interested to get another new character in here. Maybe add some new, some strength to Team Green. Because right now they're looking a little weak. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, the other thing I had to talk about is I just know the next day after Aegon was like, Otto, give me your hand badge. Like, that's not your job. You're fired. You're fired, sweetie. You're fired. I just know the next day that Aegon went up to Larys and was like, hey, I fired Otto, like you said. And Larys is like, oh, great. Yes, your grace. I'm ready to serve. And he's like, yeah, so I gave it to Kristen Cole instead. And I just know Larys is going to be like, oh, this family. Like he was so clearly like, we could work together. And Aegon was like, None went inside. It just went like over. So funny to me. So like, I don't know why, but this episode, Team Green is just playing out like they're kind of all crazy, and Rhaenyra's team is kind of put together with the exception of Daemon. And I think it's only right that I come to Daemon's defense a little bit here, because I think he's been maligned in the media. I think that he was simply acting in a time when he needed to act. And to his defense, he gave specific instructions. Now, was he thorough with his instructions in the event of different scenarios? No. But could he have predicted every scenario? No. My client is an innocent man, okay? He was simply trying to give his wife the revenge that she so desired, to equally strike retribution on Team Green. And all he was trying to do was follow orders. And listen, everybody wants to be like, oh, he's reckless. Oh, he's not the king. He can't just do whatever he wants. And how many times has he helped the realm? And how many times has he helped Rhaenyra? And how many times has he helped Team Black and Viserys? Remember when he went kind of rogue on the Mr. Crab feeder? And look at how that turned out. Pretty well, actually. And so I'm going to need everyone to give my man a break. And yes, he is going through some marital struggles right now, but I will defend him till the very end. I really will. There's absolutely no way you're getting me to turn against Daemon. The show, if it did that, that would really be something else. I don't know I really don't think that is possible for that to happen. Okay, so if it happens, I've said it here first that I'm standing by him. Christian, I can come for Ted as much as I want. You know how I feel about Ted. They've been giving Aegon's actors some great moments. Like, the way that he's able to go from that throne or that council room scene where he's like, I just like get the people, like, what are we doing in this stupid meeting? Like, let's go to war. Let's, like, this is a clear act of war, which, like, he's not wrong. And then meanwhile, he's able to have that scene with Kristen Cole and Otto Hightower where he's acting like haughtily superior, and he actually is like so inept. And it's so, the actor knows the character so well and is playing the character so well, and not in a way of like, what would Aegon do in this scene? But like the delivery of the lines and the facial expressions with the tone and the attitude, because he is still like pissed at Otto. He has this sharp cutting tone, but he's being so ignorant. And it's like that. I just feel like it's so good. I also want to give props to the actress that plays Helena. I feel like we dismiss that a lot or don't talk about it because she's sort of in the background a lot of the time, and she's playing this kind of kooky, like, says little, sometimes prophetic things. But I think there's something so powerful about her performance and the way that she's so uncomfortable, and all those people get up by their carriage or their wagon during the funeral procession. Sorry. Oh my gosh. The way she's clearly so uncomfortable, the way that she is so distraught after the death of her child. I just think she does a really good job, and I think because she's kind of this spacey character, we don't talk about it as much as we do like a character with more lines or more forcefulness like Aegon. But I think she is phenomenal. Yeah, Crispy Cole needs to go. Let me tell you, I will be the first one. I'll be in the streets celebrating if that man goes in this show. Like, I don't think he will, because he's a slithery little snaky snake. And he's here to cling on to power, and he's made it this far. And like, we all know Alicent is not gonna do anything about it. And Allison's kids also are kind of like, we have our own problems, Mom. Like, we're not really going to care about you. And, like, I think Allison genuinely wanted somebody to be mad at her. They wanted there to be, like, you're the queen consort, or you're the dowager queen. Like, you need to get it. Not the queen consort. You're the dowager queen. Like, you can't be acting this way. I just, like, she wanted somebody to care so bad and get so mad at her. And it just wasn't going to happen. I do hate Joffrey. Let's not get it twisted. I do hate Joffrey. Yeah, Laris is like, what the heck, Aegon? Like, is this a joke? Am I a joke to you? That's so funny to me. I wanted to see him back. He is the rogue prince. Daemon is the rogue prince. Rhaenyra wanted blood, and he gave it to her. Well, he tried. And listen, like, I thought that was another scene that, like, the way they're able to somehow weave a little bit of comedy. And I don't know if it's because I love to just, like, talk and say crazy things during the show and be like, oh, get him, like, eat him up, like, whatever. I'm sure my husband absolutely loves the fact that I do that. But there was something so funny about the way he's just smugly sitting there like, yeah, I did this for you. Like, this is my grand romantic gesture. Like, I did it. And then when she's like, what do you mean they killed Jaehaerys and you didn't tell them to do that? And he's like, I gave them specific instructions. I said he has one eye. I said Aemond. I said, like, wow. I think it's just so funny because he's like, no. I don't think the writers are trying to get us to hate Daemon, because I think they know how likable Matt Smith is and how great of an actor he is, and the character has this level of kind of fanfare behind him. I think what they're doing with Daemon is really interesting, because I think they want to... They make a really great point about this in the after the show notes or like clip. I can't say that I came up with this, but they say, like, we've always known that with Daemon by her side, like, Rhaenyra and Daemon kind of can't be stopped. Like, they both have this, like, level of claim to the throne. And, like, up until this point, the only person that's had a claim, very loose claim, to the throne outside of Team Black has been Aegon. Like, Rhaenys had a claim to the throne, Daemon had a claim to the throne, and Rhaenyra had a claim to the throne. Obviously the strongest, but the other two were passed up. However, that's kind of a strong combo of three people who have, in some ways, it's their birthright, or they were trained to be prepared to take that throne, versus Aegon, who is just kind of this, like, essentially a spare from a spare marriage, that is now been put in a position of power for literally no reason. And I like the idea of Daemon leaving and going kind of rogue, and is he going to help the cause or is he going to worsen it further? How that's interesting, because it's fitting for his character, like, for his character to just sit in line the rest of the season. Like, I also think it's such an interesting exploration of Daemon and Rhaenyra's characters, to examine the fact that if the roles were reversed and Daemon was the one given the throne and Rhaenyra was still his wife, Rhaenyra would support Daemon and follow, probably unquestioningly, or to the extent of giving, like, the best advice possible or whatever. But because the situation is reversed and Daemon does have that little bit of, like, resentment of never being given the opportunity for the throne, he feels like being Rhaenyra's king consort is his opportunity to, like, what am I trying to say? It's his opportunity to prove himself, to do whatever he wants, and, like, he feels entitled to do these things. And, like, Rhaenys keeps saying, like, he's not the king, though. Like, he can't just do these things. But that's how his character feels. His character feels that marrying Rhaenyra and defending Rhaenyra's right to the crown is basically defending his own. But, of course, we've now seen that Daemon's wishes, or the way he would act as king, differs from Rhaenyra. And, like, how does their alliance hurt Rhaenyra? Because now of this political move that Daemon has made by killing Jaehaerys, or how does it help them because they both can actually come to this conclusion that, like, we just know the Hightower shouldn't be in charge, so let's get us back there and, like, get our child on the throne. Episode 2 is officially called Rhaenyra the Cruel. I'm just looking. I was going to say, I wasn't trying to question whoever Philip sent the I love you brother, but I feel like that just felt like kind of a little bit of a different episode title name. I still can't find hold on. Is this what I'm looking for? Hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to confirm because now I've seen two different names of the episodes. Rhaenyra the Cruel makes sense because of the what is the name of the episode? All these people have. Oh, this is the longest episode thus far. Can somebody just... Sorry, I'm trying to find the name of this episode. All these articles are reviews that have different titles. I believe you, Ando. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I want to see it for myself. If I go to Max, will it be there? Also, I know this was something we discussed last season. It's obviously been plenty of time now since we've seen the younger versions of Alicent and Rhaenyra. But how do we feel about the older actresses at this point? Because I think they're both phenomenal. And I think they both have a sense of... At first, I was very much like, oh, why couldn't you just have, like, used the younger ones? Obviously, having the younger generation of Targaryens kind of affects that. You need to have them feel older, look older, and they both have this level of, I think, like, weight of, like, experience and hurt and stuff to them that I think I'm now adjusted to at this point. That's just so weird to me that Max doesn't have the name of the episode. Guys, it is getting a little bit late, and we have almost reached the 50-minute mark, or we're basically at the 50-minute mark now. This has been such a fun stream getting to talk to you guys and dissect this episode. I really enjoyed this episode. Again, I enjoyed it more than the first episode, the premiere of season 2, but I think we are on a heavy, strong, good buildup of episodes, and I think we're going to, about middle of this season, get to some really intense stuff that I'm really excited to dissect. But honestly, even if it continued to just be this background of, I think, Ando, you said it, this felt like a classic Game of Thrones episode. It felt like we're in a character-based drama where knowing all the players and understanding their backing and having hatred for some and sympathy for others and how the events unfold is so fascinating and enjoyable to just watch, and you're just intrigued every single moment. I'm really excited to see what happens with the White Worm going forward. I'm really interested. I thought in the trailer for the season at large that came after the episode 1, like the look coming up this season, I really thought that I saw someone that was in like the red cloak of the woman from like season 3 of Game of Thrones. I don't know why I can't remember her name. The red woman, whatever. Hold on. I need to get her name. Red woman, Game of Thrones. Melisandre. I thought I saw a woman that was like from Melisandre's like cults or whatever. And I'm wondering if that's a connection they're trying to draw to her, if that's something that Helena gets involved with. I'm also really curious about the White Worm because I thought she was going to be the one to call out the Eric and Eric fight. But she didn't, or the fact that he snuck in. So I don't know if she's like, I want to know what she's up to. I want to know what she knows, or if she's going to go to Daemon and be like, look, I have all these secrets Oh, Melisandre is alive during House of the Dragon. Then I guess that was her then. Oh, that's right, because she turns really old when she does. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Ando. Listen, it's giving I need to rewatch Game of Thrones, I guess, but I don't know that I have the time to do that right now because I barely have the time to rewatch House of the Dragon. Also, guys, I wanted to give a little bit of a shameless plug for myself with I have a playlist on YouTube already of all the House of the Dragon live streams from last year. And I am going to try to cut stuff from these streams into like review episodes. I really thought I would have been able to do that by now, but I'm really currently behind on videos. I still owe my Bridgerton season 3 part 2 review and a couple other videos for that. I owe you guys the 3rd plot summary for Bridgerton season 1. I owe you guys my season 2 episode 1 premiere of House of the Dragon like cut review. But I'm going to try to be working on that stuff. I think I've got some time this week that's really going to be a priority for me. So be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to the oh, do I not have are you kidding me? I don't have okay, I'm going to be making a House of the Dragon playlist, and I will organize it all, put all the live streams together, and then I'll put all the videos together so you guys can go in and watch those. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. I so appreciate it. I will be back next Sunday, as always, to recap and review the episode with you guys, give some reactions, and chit-chat about it. It's such a fun an enjoyable thing for me, and I'm so glad we have this little community here. I'm also going to try to get everything prepped and timed better for next week. I was literally cooking up until 9 p.m. and then I ran upstairs to watch it, and now I'm streaming with you guys. So I'm going to go get situated for the rest of my week. Have an absolutely amazing evening, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Sunday or earlier if you tune into one of my other videos. Bye, guys.